Hello, welcome to SP Union High School and Junior College. Today we are going to discuss about the file organization, different types of the file organization. So what is a file? What is a file? We can say that whatever the data or related data we can store under the one particular name, then we can say it is a file. The main objective is to see how data is organized for storage and a retrieval purpose. Means when we are going to store the data, that time we use the concept of the file. Then file we are going to store in a folder. Then folder we are going to store in a particular drive. So this is the way the storage takes place. Then when we want to retrieve this particular file, then we will go on that particular drive, then that folder, and we can open the file. So the access of the file should be very easy. By considering this concept, we are going to store that particular file. That is the organization of the file. File system manager manages the storing and a retrieving scheme. So how can store that particular file and how we retrieve that particular file, that will be seen by the file system manager. The main important function of file system manager is to organize or systemize all the data in order to enhance total system performance and the efficiency. When we are going to store that particular data, that time we have to consider how the efficiency of the system and the performance. Means performance and the efficiency should be very good. In by considering all these things, we organize that particular data. That is the file system manager. The type of storing and retrieval scheme is decided by configuration of computer system. That is, configuration of computer system means what? When we are installing the operating system, that is, in that particular one step is there to divide the main memory, that is the hard disk space we have to divide. That time we divide that memory by giving the particular name, and those are nothing but the drive. That at the time of the configuration it will be decided. In normal operation, files can be systemized or organized by two ways. There are the mainly two ways. By using this, we can organize the file. First one is the sequential file organization, and second one is the direct file organization. So we will see one by one. Now we see about the sequential file organization. As the name suggests, sequential means in this case or file organization, data is going to store in a sequentially. The name suggests basic operation of file organization, that is sequentially. Sequential means one after another, means it will store the data one after another physically. The records of files are sorted in physical order one after as created file. Means while the creation of the file, as we write the data or sorted or store the data, in this way only it is going to store. The order is same for writing and reading, that is, you have no choice to change reading order of the records. Means whatever the order or in which order the data is stored, in that way only you have to writing or reading takes place. There is no, or we cannot change that order. This scheme is suitable for electromagnetic storing devices like the tape. Tape is the one of the devices in which the data is stored one after another. So this organization is suitable for these electromagnetic devices. There are some advantages and disadvantages of this file organization. We will see first what are the advantages. First, the next record physically resides after the previous one. So, separate pointer is not required to keep the track of records while reading them. Okay, means when we want to read that data, so automatically from one data to another we can go. Then from second to third, third to fourth, automatically we can move because these are arranged in this way. First data, second data, third data. So no need to any other extra pointers for this. Then second, unidirectional access is provided. One directional. Okay, there is provided as the data are stored in a sequential manner. Third, this is device independent. So any of devices can be used to organize sequential files automatically and portability enhances. So there is independent. It is not required or it is not dependent on the devices. Any device can store this type of the data. That is the sequential file organization. Then disadvantages of this file organization. If you want any record, then you must always start from first record. You cannot directly access a particular record, so it is time consuming scheme. This is leads to non-optimal utilization of device and low access efficiency. Okay, so this is the disadvantages, that if you want to the data in between. So suppose there are the 10 records are there, and from this 10 record you want to read the record number 5, then you have to start always from the first record. You cannot directly access that 5 record. You have to go from first record, second, third and the fourth. So it is the time consuming, because first 4 records you have to compulsory read, and since this leads to non-optimal utilization of device and the low access efficiency. Now see sequential access. A sequential access is that in which the records are accessed in some sequence, that is the information in the file is processed in order, one record after the other. Now see in a diagram, record 1, then record 2, 3, record n minus 1, record n, number of the record. Then end of the file will be at the record n and the beginning of the file of the record 1. So as I told, if you want to access the record number 5, then first 4 record you have to compulsory access or read. So this is the how the sequential access takes place. Now we see the direct file organization. As the name suggests, direct file organization. So to overcome the main disadvantages of the sequential file organization, we will move to the direct file organization. So in order to overcome the main disadvantages of large access time and the inefficiency in sequential file organization, the concept of the direct file organization is developed. Direct file organization accesses the record through record's physical address on a direct access storage devices. Okay, means for each and every record there is a physical address is there, and through that address we can directly access the particular record. For example, record number 5. So for that record number 5, there is a one particular physical address is there, and that address is stored in somewhere. So we'll get that particular address from that storage device, and we will move to the that physical address and we can access the record. So it is the direct file organization. Again, for this there are the some advantages and disadvantages are there. We will see one by one. First we'll see advantages. So first advantage is that any record in the file can be accessed randomly. Okay, so you can access the record number 3 directly, then you can go to the record number 5, record number 9. So randomly you can access the record. Access time is minimized. This is the second advantage. As we can directly access that record, there is no need to start recording from first record to till that record, so time is minimized. So this is about the advantages of direct file organization. Now we'll see disadvantages. First, as the physical address is to be generated, automatically processing time increases. As the process increases to create the physical address and then store that particular address, then when the we want to access that particular record, when the process is created, then process has to go to the physical storage devices, then go to that physical address, so processing time increases. Second, the mechanical movement of input and output devices is more, as we have to create the physical address and again to store that physical address somewhere, so mechanical movement of input and the output devices is more. Possibility of poor utilization. Okay, so as there are the number of process created or processing time, so there should be the some interruption will be occur, or input output devices will be required, that should not be sometime possible to get. So the poor possibility of poor utilization is there. It cannot be stored on sequential access devices like magnetic tape. That is, it is not device independent. Okay, so it is not device independent. Where there is a facility available to store the direct file organization or to store the data in this way. In that cases only you can use this direct file organization. So it is not a device independent. So this is about the direct file organization. Now we'll see the direct or random access. We can also say that it is a random access. Random access file organization provide accessing the records directly. Okay, now see, there is the record 1, then one record points to, that is the 2. Means first we record access the record first, after that we can access the record 2, then from we can access the record 3, then 8, then whatever etc. Means we are randomly access the particular records. Each record has its own address on the file with by the help of which it can be directly accessed for reading or writing. As I said, for each and every record, we maintain the physical address. By using that particular address, we can access the record and we can use it for reading or writing purpose. The records need not be in any sequence within the file and they need not be in adjacent location on the storage medium. Okay, as in a sequential file, the records are physically adjacent to one other. But here it is not that the store on storage medium the records are physically resides to each other. Now we are going to see the next concept, device drivers. As the drivers, device drivers, we know that when we can say that there are the particular drivers are present or not, we have to install the drivers etc. So drivers are nothing but these are the softwares, and whatever the hardware in a computer, for each and every hardware there is a drivers are there, means to execute that particular hardware or to operate or to perform their function of that particular hardware, for that hardware whatever the driver means software is there that should be installed on that computer. So we'll see about the device drivers, more commonly known as a driver, a device driver or hardware driver. It is a group of files that enable one or more hardware devices to communicate with the computer's operating system. Okay, without drivers the computer would not be able to send and receive data correctly to hardware devices such as printer. If a particular driver is not installed for that hardware, then it is not able to send and receive the data. If the appropriate driver is not installed, the device may not function properly or if at all. Okay, so if we install not installing the driver for the hardware, then it is not able to work that hardware at all or not working as much as efficiently of that particular hardware. With some devices the device may work but all of its feature may not work. Sometimes what happens is that particular hardware will work, but all those its function are available, it will not work. For example, a computer mouse usually works without the drivers. For the mouse we know that it is not required to install, we just attach that mouse and we can use for that. But sometime what happens is other than the traditional mouse there are the some buttons are there, extra buttons are there. To work that extra buttons we have to install the drivers over there. Now see in a diagram, first program is there, then operating system is there, then device driver is there, and then particular hardware is there. Okay, when the hardware like the display output devices hardware is there, then the printer is there, then the CD-ROM is there, then the keyboard is there. For each and everything there is the device driver is there. Device driver means what? The software is there. Then that software is executed by the operating system. When that operating system execute that particular software, when the require come from the program, and when that program is selected by the user, means when the user wants to perform particular operation, for example printer, when we attach the printer to the computer, that time the whatever the software is for that printer to work properly, that particular software we have to install on that computer. Means that software is nothing but it is the device driver, it is the driver to execute, to work its work properly. So it is the device driver, the software, and it is executed by the operating system. When that particular software is executed, that time the hardware start its working. So this is about the device drivers. Now we see about the sequential file organization. As the name suggests, sequential means in this case or file organization, data is going to store in a sequentially. The name suggests basic operation of file organization, that is sequentially. Sequential means one after another, means it will store the data one after another physically. The records of files are sorted in physical order one after as created file, means while the creation of the file, as we write the data or sorted or store the data, in this way only it is going to store. The order is same for writing and reading, that is you have no choice to change reading order of the records, means whatever the order or in which order the data is stored, in that way only you have to writing or reading takes place. Now we'll discuss with the dumb terminal and the intelligent terminal. First we'll see the dumb terminal. As the name suggests, dumb. It is not going to perform any process. It is called as a dumb terminal. It is responsible for basic input and output of the character. For example, keyboard. This is the one of the terminal through which we can provide some input. We can provide the numbers 1, 2, 3. Then we can provide the characters. So it is responsible for basic input and the output characters. Second, it is the simplest type of terminal. Keyboard, mouse. We can say that these are the very simple terminals are there. It does not have any processing capability. By using the keyboard, you are just going to type something, characters, number or symbol, etc. So when we are typing all these things, it is just typing. It is not performing any processing. It connects directly to a host computer. Keyboard is directly connect to the computer. Mouse is directly connect to the computer. Then the monitor is directly connect to the computer. By using the monitor, you can just see the output. So to display that output, there is no any processing takes place by that particular monitor. It is called dumb terminal because it does no processing on the input characters. So whatever the character typed by the keyboard, it just typing. It is not performing any processing on that characters. So it is called as a dumb terminal. Second, intelligent terminal. As the name suggests, intelligent. The terminal can do the processing on the micro. Okay, so it performs them some processing. The processing is takes place by the particular terminal. So it is called as an intelligent terminal. So it requires more powerful hardware and the software for it. Okay, when particular process takes place on a computer, so particular program is going to execute. So it will require some hardware and the software. For example, CPU, etc. It includes a processing unit, memory and the secondary storage. As I said, it requires more powerful hardware and the software. CPU it is required. Then to execute that particular processes created for that program or to do some processing, it will require the memory and the secondary storage devices. A microcomputer connected to a larger computer by a modem or network like is an example of intelligent terminal. So you can connect the larger computer. So to connect larger computer, we require the modem or through the network link also we can connect. So this is about the intelligent terminal. As the name suggests, it will perform some processing. So in this topic, we cover with all these concepts: file organization, device drivers, and the terminal, in which dumb terminal and the intelligent terminal. Thank you.